It's more interested in them. Every one of his starts to me seems like a massive deal. I make sure I don't just passively watch the game or listen to the game when he's pitching. I treat it like it's almost a playoff game where I have to watch every single pitch in every single moment of the game. For my money, the three best things in Pittsburgh sports right now are as follows. T.J. Watt rushing the passer, a Sidney Crosby shift, and Paul Skeens throwing a baseball. And you could say O'Neal Cruz when he makes hard contact. That's pretty neat. And George Pickens when he makes a play downfield or catches the ball in open space. But those would be honorable mentions for me behind Watt getting after the quarterback, a Crosby shift, and then Skeens throwing a baseball. We've already heard from a few people that have said their fandom or level of interest has changed this year because of Skeens. A few others that are just waiting for the shoe to drop, for the Pirates to blow it, or for Skeens to get traded to a big market team, which is a pretty defeatist way of looking at it, and also deprives you of watching one of the great phenoms in baseball history pitch in our town. 412-928-9370. Let's go back to the phones with Sean Myers producing. We have Neil on the fan. Hello, Neil.
Hey.
Hi, Neil.
So, I got a question for you. I mean, first of all, I want to say that Skeens has made the Pirates appointment television, and it's been the first since probably the good old days in the early 2010s. But my question for you is how much success does he have to have before Pirates fans, you've been around the city long enough,
Sure,
before everybody starts with the doom and gloom. How much success does he need to have before it's, that kind of washes away? Because for me, I mean, if you told me that we would win a World Series in 28 and he'd be gone the next year, I'd say thank you for your service.
Agreed. If people bitched and complained about them, then they'd never be happy. They would fall into the category of, you win the lottery and then you complain about the taxes afterwards. If that's your reaction to him pitching and winning a World Series here. I expect him to win more playoff games in a Pirates uniform as a starting pitcher than any Pirate pitcher in my lifetime. So
I can agree with that.
Pull up Drabek's numbers. Garrett Cole only won Game 2 of the Cardinals series. Liriano won 2, so I guess that would be the score to beat from the last era of Pirates. He won the wild card game against the Reds and then Game 3 against St. Louis. So, yeah, that's bare minimum. I mean, I expect him to win Cy Young awards, and I expect him to be the best pitcher in baseball, and I think he's already close to that. It is not out of the question that Skeens is going to win the NL Rookie of the Year and win the NL Cy Young and be the first guy to do it since Fernando Valenzuela in '81. When you look at the best pitchers in the National League, it's not an insane thought. 412-928-9370. Here is Mark on the fan. Hello, Mark.
I got to go back 48 years to find anybody close to Paul Skeens, and that was when John Candelaria, his rookie year in 1976, he was 16-7 with 3.15 ERA. The next year he won 20 games in 77, and in 76 also Mark Fidrich sold out 1 million ballparks before he hurt his arm.
The Birdman.
And I think Paul Skeens is about as close as you can. But I really like Paul. I met him, and he's humble. He's a polite guy.
Yes, very much so. I agree with that, Mark.
And if the Pirates can anyway sign him, but
Mark, I've watched a lot of the old games from the '70s, whether that's on YouTube or now actually Sportsnet Pittsburgh shows a lot of them. Candelaria was an outstanding pitcher, but he did not just completely demoralize hitters, embarrass hitters, and blow hitters away the way that Skeens does.
He was a finesse guy, but he was consistent.
Right.
But the last thing, I don't think you realize this, Andrew, but there's new rules in baseball. If Skeens wins Rookie of the Year, I believe he gets credit for 1 year full service time.
Yep.
So he might only have 5 years left in the Berg.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. If he's that good this year, I think he could have what Jake Arrieta did for the Cubs in 2015. And the way he pitched in the second half of the season, and unfortunately the Pirates are on the wrong end of that in the wild card game, I think he can have that kind of effect when he pitches on this club, where it's just overwhelmingly dominant, and you feel like if you get one run, you're in good shape until the bullpen comes in and potentially blows it. Here is Will on the Fan. Hello, Will.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good to talk to you, Will.
Yeah, thank you very much. So
Sure.
my question is kind of the threshold where would Bob Nutting be with this whole situation? Like, is it just enough to catch this revenue from Paul Skeens pitching and drawing all this attention, which I'm a big fan. I'm on my way to the game now. It's exciting, but is it enough to build a team around him to continue this, or do we have a year or two of watching him dominate and then all of a sudden we just fail on all the other ends?
Well, I'm gonna. Here's how I would answer. Here's how I would answer that. I don't really think it's smart to want to build around pitchers for a long period of time.